Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Pharma Innovation Forum Board, I would like, first of all, to thank the organizers for giving us the opportunity to be in such a tremendous conference. Obviously, I would like to thank the Minister for being with us this morning. I know because of your parliamentary duties, you have a really busy week. And of course, to thank the distinguished members of this panel, some of whom have traveled from really far away to be with us, so many thanks. And without further ado, I would like to start with the Minister. Dear Minister, the Prime Minister met with the leaders and the CEOs of the largest pharmaceutical companies around the world a few days ago in Megaro Maximou. And from what I believe, it was a very fruitful discussion. And one of the things that was discussed that we're facing a very challenging problem with a very challenging situation here in Greece. And we almost need to square the circle, as the Prime Minister said. Now, he mentioned clearly that we need to develop synergies between the pharmaceutical industry and the government, not only at a national level, but also at a European level. And I would like your thoughts on how Greece could protect access to innovation and have a more sustainable and friendly environment for the pharmaceutical companies, and how would you like to kind of give us a little bit of your idea of how you're thinking to shape the pharmaceutical policy in Greece to make Greece a more friendly place for innovation?
First of all, dear Mr. Kotsiopoulos, dear friend John, thank you for the invitation. I want to thank Delphi Economic Forum and Mr. Tsomokos for organizing every year this fantastic event here in Delphi. The truth is, I was really in a very pressed day yesterday. I finished my parliamentary session 1 o'clock in the morning. I came straight forward to Delphi in order to be in a little better shape in the morning. And I have to leave after my last panel immediately because the parliamentary discussion is continuing today and I have to be there to give the right answers. So even under this very pressed time, I couldn't miss Delphi and I couldn't miss our discussion with such a prestigious panel. Thank you very much for being here, and I will try to be as useful as I can. I had the honor to participate to the meeting with all the big pharmaceutical CEOs in Athens, and in the dinner in the Parthenon Museum, and in the Prime Minister's office in Megaro Maximou the next day. It was not only a very fruitful, but a very interesting discussion. We were discussing ourselves more than 2 hours. And for Greece, I have to say that, it was a great honor that Athens hosted this meeting of the most innovative pharmaceutical companies of the world, that they are at the edge of all the new discoveries in new therapies. And from the other side, we perceived as a vote of confidence to Greece that they decided to come to Athens this year. Our discussion was to the new European legislation that is now being discussed in EU Commission, in the European Parliament, and in the European level in general, and in the cabinet ministries. That it's very important for the future of innovation in the European Union, and I can tell you all the views that the Greek government has to this discussion. And the second theme was how we could attract some more investments from these companies to Greece. Greece, even though it's a small country, has managed to build an important pharmaceutical industry. Even though we represent the 2% of European population, we produce the 10% of European medicine. You all know that we have a lot of big Greek companies, mostly in the generic field, that are producing and exporting millions of euros for drugs every year around the world. So we've proved ourselves as a country with the right environment to produce medicine. And I always want to refer to the example of Boehringer Ingelheim. Boehringer had built a small factory in Koropi in the 1970s decade and was here as a small industry for her greases department for more than 40 years. 2019, when with Mr. Kontozamanis we decided to legislate the pharmaceutical investment clawback. I was the inventor of the pharmaceutical clawback, but I was also the inventor of the pharmaceutical investment clawback. We did it with Mr. Kontozamanis. Boehringer was one of the companies that decided to use this tool, and they built a new factory in Koropi with this money. In 2019, their exports from Greece was a value of 200 million euro. In 2023, after the investment, their export from Greece was 1.3 billion. And now they're building a third factory that when it will be finished in the next 2 years, it will reach a level of exporting more than 2 billion goods from Greece. So if Boehringer Ingelheim can do that in Greece and practically do it with a very useful tool from the Greek Republic and from money that you already spent, I am referring to the big multinational companies, why not more of you are not using this kind of money to do the same thing? And I'm not referring also of building a factory. We have all these prestigious and very good Greek companies. We can collaborate more with them. Some of you already are collaborating with a lot of them and you know each other, and use this money to increase the production in Greece, not only in the clinical trials. Of course, we like clinical trials, we encourage clinical trials, and we had some progress in the last years in the clinical trials field. From the starting point we were in 2019, we were practically very, very low. Now we are reaching a much better level comparison to countries similar with our scale and size. But of course, and then our ambition is much, much more. But we are using the investment clawback for the clinical trials, but then there's a small amount of 25% that we can use this incentive under the agreement the Greek government and the European Commission has. But you can use, I'm telling again, the money for production pharmaceutical goods in Greece. We have the right staff, we have good scientists, we have very good and stable business environment as we speak, and we have a very big incentive, which is the pharmaceutical global. So beyond all that, I will just give me 1 minute more. I have to say, because I don't want to hide the elephant in the room, the elephant in the room is the huge increase of clawback and rebate and the whole reimbursement in our pharmaceutical expenditure. And I have to be very honest, when I decided to back the clawback law in 2013, my main idea was that it should never pass a level no more than 300 million per year. Now we're in a level over 1 billion. As all drugs, they can help you and save your life, but if you've misused them and you take them in more doses than you should, the side effects can be much worse than the illness itself. So now, in this level of clawback, the side effects of this clawback is really damaging the pharmaceutical industry, and what I really care about as Minister of Health, the easy access of our patients to innovative drugs. Because our main responsibility is the patients in Greece that will need an innovative drug, that it will save his life or her life, will be found. And I totally realize that in this level, a lot of companies hesitate to come to Greece. I'm working with all the industry. We are already implementing measures, and next week, I would have done it this week, but I had my trip to Israel, my legislation, and Delphi Economic Forum, it was totally impossible. But next week, I will invite all the industry to my office in the Ministry of Health. I will show you the first 3 months of pharmaceutical expenditure and how clawback is going in these 3 months, how our measures and their implementation works, and what are the projections for the clawback of 2024. Our target is to reduce the clawback and the rebate in 2024 more than 300 million, and I would like to reach the 400 million. I think the 300, it's totally doable. The 400, maybe it would need some more effort, but it is doable also. And I think if we manage to do that, we will have sent a clear message to the industry that we understand the problem and we respect their concerns. But all what I will do will be under total transparency. You will have all the information fast. Even if the news are not good, you will learn the news, because what I want is to fix a very predictable environment, either with good news, either with bad news, because as a businessman, I always believe that even the bad news, if you know them fast, you can take decisions to deal with them. So I don't want surprises. I want a stable and transparent business environment.
Thank you, Minister. I think you were very clear about your intention how to deal with the problem. Mr. Massart, you're leading one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world, and clearly you have an international view of the situation. And how do you see the Greek market? Is it friendly for investments, and how would you respond to the Minister? And if you can give us some best practices of sustainable policies in other European countries, that would be great.
So thank you for the question. First of all, I would like to thank you for being invited and to be part of this very, very high-level panel. Just to reply to answer to your question, I think that, first of all, I'm really glad. I think that you're going to make my day, because I hear a lot of good things that are going to happen here in Greece. But this is true that this is a mission of everyone to make it sustainable. This is all the stakeholders here around the table. This is what we want to achieve together. Now, this is true that it's not an easy environment. And if we do compare Greece with other countries, I cannot tell you that this is the most attractive country today for making international investment. But let's focus first of all on positive things, because, and that has been told also during the prior panel, I really think that you have a big assets here in Greece. If we are looking, for example, on the uptake of the innovation pharmaceutical healthcare, is going very well here in Greece. I think that the patients love innovation. They want to get access to the best treatment. I really think that you have a very high skill, high qualified physician. We are speaking about center of excellence. This is really important. And this is true as well that the patient association are reactive. I'm really glad to see that all the economic and political environment is improving. This is stable, and this is also reassuring for the future. And I think that Minister Georgiadis, you have been able to attract also a couple of years ago international investment from other industry sectors like IT. So I wish you exactly the same success with the pharmaceutical innovation industry, because we want to invest, and this is important for the patient, of course. Now, there are also some headwinds, and we need also to recognize, and you mentioned we should not, there is no elephant in the room, and we need to mention it. The pricing in Greece are one of the lowest price in Europe, and this is made by design, because this is just the average of the two lowest Eurozone countries. And this is correlated as well with probably the most massive payback system in Europe, and that this is not making the system very attractive for the investment, for international investment. Now, moreover, I would say that and it's going to change, that this is really glad to hear today, that we need predictability, and when we are speaking with the Pharma Forum Innovation, we are lacking completely predictability in this country. It's not funny, but this is a reality to mention that we still do not know how much we're going to pay for the year 2022, and we are in 2024. So for making a planning, it's not easy to do, and I do hear that we'll be able in the future to know how much we'll need to contribute or to less contribute, and that this is absolutely critical for us to know and to have a clear plan for the couple of years if we need to invest. And the last thing that I wanted to mention, it was also difficult for us. Very often we see new measures in the pharmaceutical sector, and those measures have also retroactive effects. So that this is not helping to stabilize the environment and to make it predictable. So the two things that from my point of view is important, and when I need to discuss with my headquarters in Chicago, what we need to have, this is equitable environment, predictability environment, and sustainable environment. If we can reunite those three conditions, I think that you will have a great attractiveness for the investments. Two things that you mentioned as well, I really think this is important. This is to reduce the clawback and to reinject funding. I think this is key because you are still below the European average in terms of pharmaceutical expenditure. And the second thing, you need to put some structural reform in place to be sure that we have a relief on the current expenditure. But it seems to be in this direction, so I'm really glad to hear. So just one example, because you were giving us some figures, and this is great figures, but I think that you can also raise your ambition. And I'm going to take an example. I could have taken two, but I think that for a question of time, I'm going to focus on Belgium. I'm coming from this country, and I really think that what is important, this is also to work end-to-end. Government and pharmaceutical industry to try to fix the problem together. So a couple of years ago, when I was general manager in Belgium, we had a pact with the government. It was called the Pact of the Future, and it was really to try to make Belgium a pharma valley. And I can tell you, a lot of things are not working very well in Belgium, but this one we did really well, because the principle, it was really to have a predictable budget. And in case of Karasiotou, it was a co-responsibility between the pharmaceutical industry and the authorities. The second one, it was also to accelerate the innovation and to be sure that the patient get access to the best treatment. It was also to improve the reimbursement condition, and also, of course, to continue to be a very attractive country for the investment. When you are taking a look on the results in Belgium, we are similar population, 2.6% of the total European population. We have 8% of the total employees working in the pharmaceutical industry in Europe are in Belgium. The investment on a yearly basis, this is 20% of the attractiveness of the pharma investment. It's not about not all about the big industry, because 90% of the pharma industry in Belgium is made by small, medium-sized companies. So this is also important to create this virtuous circle to attract, of course, small companies, and also to develop research and development. So I'm very glad to hear that we are thinking in the same direction, and of course, as a pharmaceutical industry, I hope that we can sit together, Pharma Innovation Forum, and the authorities to find the best solution for the patient and to develop the industry here in Greece.
Thank you very much. I'll continue on the same line of collaboration. I think that was done in Belgium, and we can use best practices. I think also the Minister is looking at best practices around Europe to implement in Greece. But we would like to hear your view about collaborative strategies, and you've heard at the highest level that the government wants to protect access to innovation, and that's clearly part of the agenda and the strategy. What do you think are the kind of benefits of a collaborative approach similar to Belgium, and has it been done elsewhere in Europe, and what can we learn from the international scene and can we apply it in Greece? Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Ioannis. Very honored as well to be part of this panel, and I think I will definitely go in the same direction of what you were saying. I'm working at Sanofi. We are the largest R&D biopharmaceutical company headquartered in Europe, and clearly, in fact, hearing from the intention from the Greek government to work together, government, private sector, in order to protect access to innovation. It's very high importance for us, for Greece, but importantly as well for the rest of Europe. We are really strong believer of this established platform of dialogue between the different parts of the government and the private sector in order to frame jointly this impactful and effective life science strategy. I think, Thibault, you talked about Belgium, but over the past years, there were around 10 countries in Europe, mainly in western part of Europe, north part of Europe. Now Spain and Italy are also moving forward, and we are really collaborating with them in order to frame, in fact, this life science strategy. And importantly, it goes in the direction. I mean, the goals of those strategy are exactly what you are saying. Strengthening the country industrial footprint. It's reinforcing the local system in order to create and deliver innovation. It's also making sure to look at identifying the competitiveness assets of the country to make it more attractive for investment. And ultimately, I think we are all sharing the same goal, which is really how to accelerate the patient access to innovative vaccines, to innovative medicines. So, and by having those strategies in the country, it's also a good signal for investors, like multinational company like us, venture capital, because it shows really the long-term commitment, the predictability you are talking about, and then that it's a stable market to invest in. And if I can testify about the other life science strategies, they are all taking a holistic approach, meaning that looking at recommendation all around the value chain. And in our analysis, in fact, we look at simplifying a little bit, but it's really looking at 7 core assets. So talents, of course, in fact, in the life science sector. There is also how to boost, let's say, an R&D innovation system in the country, how to incentivize indeed manufacturing capacity, a big chapter on funding, venture capital. Health data is also very much at the center, international collaboration, and of course the mechanism of market access pricing we were talking about. And my home country is France, so I will just also illustrate the case of France, but the life science strategy in France was issued in 2021. Together, government and industry, and if you look at it, it's called Healthcare Innovation 2030. So already looking at the ambition over a decade, you know, putting the KPI together, and then the rollout. And then there is concrete measure. There is concrete measure, for example, on the talent and making sure to have millions euro invested to attract and retain young researchers and help them, I would say, growing their laboratories. There were a big chapter, obviously, on e-health, digital research, education of the healthcare professional, pooling private and public investment, and doing that with the same objective. When it comes to market access as well, I would say combining the market access and the pricing system also to, I would say, the local manufacturing incentives as well. And also something that existed as well in Germany, but it's a kind of best practice, immediate market access for the innovation that are, I would say, recognized from an HTA point of view as having high medical added value. So just to illustrate that, and I think, and I'm pleased as well to share afterwards, but also the European dimension in the life science strategy is super important. Germany as well recently issued their Pharma strategy. They have a European dimension, especially when it comes to provide funding support to manufacturing capacities of strategic technologies, because here we are thinking competitiveness of Europe. We are thinking health security of Europe. And of course, I mean, it's very important to have that, I would say, together. And I know you will be talking about Europe just after as well. But, and again, I think you identify some of the strengths of Greece. And I think Greece really should capitalize. Indeed, you have a super scientific wealth, you have researcher, you have this capacity of clinical trials. So maybe how I would say to boost that to the next level, and then we can also collaborate on that to facilitate the clinical trial setting, the identification of the sites, you name it, but really having KPIs. And the other element I would like to stress as well, I know you invested a lot in the digitalization of the healthcare system, is how with your data from the e-prescription, you can maybe become also a center of excellence in real-world evidence for policy making. So all of that to say, and I will repeat what was said last week with our CEO and the Prime Minister, and by Thibault, is that as pharmaceutical industry, innovative pharmaceutical industry, we are really ready to play our part, to sit down with all of you, to identify, in fact, what makes sense for Greece, for European competitiveness, and importantly, I think, for saving lives of patients, obviously. But
many good ideas there. But time is, we're under pressure to finish in 12 minutes, and we have 3 more speakers. I would really like to give the opportunity to the other 3 speakers to give us a kind of a rounded approach. I mean, one of the biggest pillars in this collaboration, Minister, is the patients' associations, and I think you'll agree with me that the numbers are just staggering in terms of the value that innovative drugs have given to the society. I have noted a few 60% reduction in mortality in cerebrovascular disease, 60% in malignant breast neoplasm, and so on and so forth. I could go on forever. But it's better if you talk about the value of innovation and how you would see being a part of this collaboration between the pharmaceutical industry and the government. And obviously the Greek Patient Association has a vital role to play.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the invitation. First of all, when we speak for pharmaceutical innovation, that involves the discovery and development of new medicines and treatments to treat a wide range of health conditions, from common ones to rare diseases, that aims to enhance the efficacy and safety profiles of treatments by developing drugs and superior therapeutic profiles compared to the existing ones. We need to increase the public awareness and understanding of the pharmaceutical innovation process through public education and engagement initiatives. We need to encourage dialogue between scientists, health policy makers, pharma industry, the state, and of course the general public to enhance trust, transparency, and accountability in the development of innovative medicines. Of course, we need to engage patient and patient advocacy groups in the drug development process to ensure that new treatments meet their unmet needs and priorities. Incorporate patient-reported outcomes in clinical trials can give us some more information about the unmet needs of the patients. We need to empower patients and as equal partners in the process, respecting their expertise and experiences. Placing patients in the center of the healthcare innovative process can lead to a development of medicines that meet their real needs. We need to support, of course, patient advocacy groups and that amplify patient voices in advance health equity and drive positive change in the drug development and access, and can create a more inclusive, resilient, and sustainable ecosystem that delivers significant advances in healthcare for the next generations. Of course, we need to ensure that we have a representation from various stakeholders, including patients, health professionals, and policymakers, and of course the pharma industry when we speak about innovative medicines. At a Greek level, cooperation between all those involved, including the state, the pharmaceutical industry, and patient advocacy groups, can bring better results and improved patient access to innovative medicines. The institutional recognition of the Greek Patient Association as the official interlocutor of the state in health policy issues in 2022 can work positively, and we are ready to contribute to this dialogue through documented and evidence-based proposals. As Greek Patient Association, we monitor the medicines legislation not only at the national level, but also at the European level. And we are cooperating with other patient organizations at the European level and in order to exchange best practice and strengthen efforts to improve patient access to medicine and especially innovative medicines. Therefore, the time has come for all of us, for all the stakeholders, to sit down in the same table and discuss about a strong partnership that will promote and improve patient access to innovation. Through the close cooperation of all stakeholders, the Greek Patients Association works to ensure that patients have access to effective and innovative medicines that will improve their quality of life. Concluding, by implementing all these collaborative strategies, when all the stakeholders can work together to create a sustainable environment for pharmaceutical innovation that meets the real patient needs. Thank you.
Thank you. And clearly, in order to do all of that, we need funding, and funding levels in Greece are below the EU average. We all know that. I think every Minister of Health knows that. Pavlina, thank you for being with us today. What can we do in terms of funding, and how can we get closer to other EU member states? Clearly, we're at the bottom of that league, and we don't have enough time.
Yeah.
I do apologize for that, because we clearly need to give a little bit of time to Vassili as well.
Don't ask for from officials from the Ministry of Government to be very short, because the answer then is evident. But thank you, Ioannis, very much for being here today. It's a great opportunity to talk, to discuss about innovations and the challenges it brings for our that it brings to our financial system. I mean, from where I stand, let's see what is progress in innovation and what it will bring as a challenge to the finance system. For us, innovation will go to have towards more in number, but also more personalized medicine. What this means, that we will be able to identify more and more diseases and create medicine for more targeted groups. This will bring challenges for financing, because we will have more expensive medicine that will target less people. However, we need to address that, because this could lead to a skyrocketing in financing needs, and this is something that we need to take into account. So this could also mean that existing pricing policies and financial tools could prove a little bit inadequate to this new era. So therefore, we should develop communication channels to address those issues, to sit down and discuss, all of us, how this process will, we will go through this process. Equitable access to innovation requires actually open and continuous dialogue between the government, the industry, and the patients, as all of you also mentioned. As a first step, we need to put in place appropriate mechanisms to share information and actually real-time data that we need to develop evidence-based policies. A very big issue that we all also need to consider here is how to resolve the issues related to access to patients' data. Not a very easy thing to do, since all these are quite sensitive, and we need to have a dialogue also with patients groups and the industry. However, without that, it's absolutely not possible for anyone to do our jobs. And of course, we all know that resources are scarce. We need to engage in as I said, in an honest dialogue. And also, as the Minister also mentioned, we are in a process of that we have internal dialogue between the ministers, between competent ministries, and we are open also to the industry and to patients' needs. I don't want to take, I mean, there is no much time. Just to say that, as the Minister said, we are in a process to control paybacks, develop a number of measures, and work on identifying, controlling costs through various channels, also through demand, and also to control maybe some unlawful behavior from all times. So
we only have 1 minute left for Vassilis.
So I don't want to take any more time.
Well,
yes.
I kindly ask the organizer for 2 more minutes for a concluding remark by Vassili to round up the discussion and give us a EU-wide perspective.
Thank you, Ioannis. Good morning. You are touching a crucial topic regarding the future of the pharmaceutical sector in Europe and the role of HERA. As everybody knows, the European Commission coordinated the response to the pandemic. Although it was really not very quick at the beginning of the pandemic, the Commission managed to effectively coordinate the pandemic. As a result, the European Union procured vaccines for the whole population, and this secured access to vaccination for all European citizens at the same time. The pandemic now is over, lessons learned, and the most important lessons are two. First of all, Europe must be more competitive. And second, we must not only focus on competitiveness, but also to what we call strategic autonomy of the European Union, because it is evident from the pandemic crisis that Europe was very much dependent on third countries. So this has to change. So now there is a focus at European level on European competitiveness, and innovation is a key pillar factor regarding innovation. And regarding the strategic autonomy of the health sector, HERA is doing a great job. Now we are launching in a few days the Critical Medicines Alliance. How Greece could benefit from the European environment, coordination and synergies are the two words. We explore policies that create a framework for a sustainable fiscal environment regarding the healthcare sector, for industry competitiveness and for medical innovation, and at the same time we are trying to create the regulatory framework that secures early access to medicines and also the predictability in the market. This is very important for pharmaceutical companies. And saying that, and I would like to add to what the Minister said, because it's very important that now the Minister of Health was again Minister of Health a few years ago, and also the Minister of Development, because Greece supports innovation. We have done a lot of work to this field. Many pharmaceutical companies have a strong footprint in the country, and the meeting that took place a few days ago at the Maximum Mansion is a sign that Greece is an investment destination for the pharmaceutical sector, and soon we will have more good news regarding investments in the health sector in the country. And also, I would like to say something about synergies. It is very important that we have a very strong local pharmaceutical production industry. During the pandemic, our Greek companies delivered medicines to major markets in Europe, and this is a sign that synergies could create in order to bring more production in the country and create all the prerequisites for investments in the country.
Thank you, Vassili. I think we ticked all the right boxes. I think the expectations now are even higher, dear Minister, and we will be expecting the delivery. So thank you very much and for being here.
I think we speak the same language, and we'll find a way to collaborate each other. I'm telling you again, since the time is off, you are very welcome to invest in Greece. We have the responsibility to do our job. You will do your job. As I told you before, you can either use the tool, make your own production line, you can either have collaboration with companies like Mrs. Trifon there, or the Annex I saw around and everybody, all the big Greek funds, Demo and everybody. But please examine Greece as also an investment destination, not only as a market. So, thank you very much.